Okay, so today I'm finally going to start on this Adventure Archives episode. First thing, I need to get all this visual clutter out of my way, take a shower, feel good to do it. And then it's time for Leroy Jenkins. Where is he at? Where's Leroy at? The edit has officially started. The first thing that we always have to do is just start putting clips in. Just get started, get the ball rolling. But that means that I will now be able to eat lunch. I feel like I have actually gotten it started. That'll be grand, because I am quite hungry. Quite hungry indeed. Do you guys talk to yourself in Bear Grylls accents? I do. The edit is coming along beautifully. Now it is time to practice this song some more. Man, that is a fast song. I thought this was gonna be easy, but...
Wrong.
Some quick laundry, then go into Brennan's house to play videojuegos. Actually, before laundry, dishes.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. We got a good podcast, though.
I just realized something, which is that when people think of Indiana, this is what they think of. Like, look at this. Indiana is filled with farmlands and stables and all of that. But like the cities, just like any other city in the US, is just like a city. It's not like a New York City or like a Chicago or anything, but I mean, there's a downtown with lots of buildings. Surrounding that, there's the suburbs, houses, basically where I live, you know. But I just realized that. All right, it's the next day at 7 o'clock. It's kind of funny because last time I went to Brennan's house, I stayed the night, and the next day we played Gears of War 4 the entire day. This time, I stayed the night and we played Zelda all day. It was a lot of fun. Maybe one of my favorite games of all time. We literally played it for like 8 hours, and I want to go home and play some more. Okay, since the only thing I've done all weekend is play Zelda, let's talk about Zelda. This isn't a review, this is just kind of my thoughts, and this is also not going to have any story spoilers, but it will have things like weapons, places, outfits, enemies that you might not see at the beginning of the game. So if you want to go completely fresh, do not watch this. But it's mostly just talking about mechanics. So first off, I think one of the things that's never really connected with me for open world games is that I don't like the feel of the actual physics of the game. So like if you take Grand Theft Auto, for instance, I don't like running around as the character. It doesn't feel good and it's not fun to like run around. It doesn't feel satisfying. This game has that open world, but it feels like almost like Mario 64 and it's like responsiveness and like the physics of everything feels very like solid. It feels very Nintendo, if that makes any sense. And you can actually go anywhere. I'm sure there's plenty of games like that where you can actually do that, but just like the nature of the world where you're like this adventurer who climbs and jumps and like it's something very strange, but like just the fact that you can climb on the side of a mountain if you have enough stamina, it somehow that makes it feel so much more alive and real. So in that sense, it is the most seamless feeling open world game I've ever played in my life. The controls though are not so good. It took a significant amount of time for me to get comfortable enough that it actually felt like I knew what each button did on the first try. For example, you get all the powers you need right at the beginning of the game, and you press the L button to use them and press up on the D-pad to switch between them. I pressed the wrong button literally every single time for probably like the first 2 hours. You also have to use the claw, which is no problem for me because I've been using it in Halo for years. But if you want to run and move the camera at the same time, you have to put your hand like this. And then if you want to run and jump, you got to do a double claw. So that's not ideal, and there's easy ways for them to get around that, and I don't really know why they didn't implement that in the controls. Also, if you want to page through the menu, you have to use the right stick, but it doesn't switch between categories, it just switches between pages. So like if you have 5 pages of materials and you want to get through, you have to swipe through them and you usually overshoot to get to where you're wanting to go. And it doesn't really make any sense because L and R is reserved for going between save, inventory, and your quest log, when they could have just put that on like R2 and then use R1 and L1 to switch between categories. It's really weird. Those are nitpicks, minor things, but I still don't understand why they did it. And the only reason that is an issue is because of the big elephant in the room that people have been talking about today because of Jim Sterling, but weapon durability. When I first started playing, the weapon durability was like a huge issue, and I was like, man, I just want a sword that will last me from start to finish that I can go kill some bad guys with. I'm not gonna begrudge anyone who doesn't like weapon durability because it makes perfect sense to me that you wouldn't like it. I will also say though, that now that I've gotten used to it, it's actually really fun because when you let go of that need to be like, oh, this is such a good weapon, I wanna save it, it becomes really fun because you fight with that weapon. Once it runs out of durability, you just throw it at the enemy, watch it explode in their face, and then you keep fighting with another weapon. Oh my God, it's so satisfying. You feel like this ultimate badass who just like comes in chopping, and then as soon as his weapon breaks, he just throws it at the guy, pulls out another weapon, starts fighting with that one too. It's fantastic. Like the combat, I didn't even think anything of the combat before the game came out. I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be Zelda combat, whatever. It's like one of my favorite parts. I thought adventuring would be my de facto favorite, which it is, and I also don't really know what de facto means, but I'm using it in the correct context, I'm sure. The fighting just became so much fun once I realized that you don't need to hold on to weapons, and you don't need to like make them like this sacred thing. You're always gonna get better weapons, man. Just throw that thing at the enemy, watch it explode. It's fantastic. I might have talked about this before on the vlog, but for media in general, oftentimes like the differentiator between whether I really love something or just like it is whether I want to live in that world. Like if the world they created is so interesting to me that I'm almost like, man, I wish I could live in that world. I wish I could live out the story that's being told to me. And this game is really like the closest thing I've ever come to experiencing something like that. It's not just any one thing. It's this whole seamless package where there's this huge world to explore. There's interesting things around every corner. The story is interesting. Fighting is interesting. The characters are interesting. It's a fantastic game. When I first started playing, like, it was so different from a regular Zelda that I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can get behind this. This is like so weird, and I'm like pressing the wrong buttons all the time. I feel overwhelmed. After about 2 hours, it clicked, and this is one of the best games ever made. Will I do a full review? Probably not, but those are my thoughts for now. If you haven't played it yet, play it. Play it. If you have a Wii U, play it. If you have a Switch, play it. If you don't have either one of those, find somebody who does, play it with them. Amazing game. Thank you very much for watching today's vlog. Hope you have a good day. See you tomorrow.